WECU 1570 AM and W298BX 107.5 FM, Winterville, North Carolina. WNOS 1450 AM and W272EK 102.3 FM, licensed to New Bern, North Carolina.
Motivations with Glenn.
Good day, everyone. Good day, good afternoon to our listening audience. This is Awesome Radio Network, WECU 1570 AM, 107.5 FM, Winterville, Greenville, North Carolina. You are tuned into the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams. Before I give it over to Apostle, we're going to have a special guest on today via conference line. Let me make sure that she's available online. Miss Clarissa, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great, fantastic. I'm going to hand it over to Apostle. She's going to introduce our guest, and we're going to have a part 2 of the topic from last week. Here's Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams.
Hello. Hello to our listening audience and to you, Dr. Glenn, and to our guest on today. We are so glad to have this particular subject on today. We're talking about healing herbs and teas on today. Healing herbs and teas. We're talking about those that heal, healing herbs and teas. And so I'm so glad for our guest on today. I'm going to not prolong the time. I'm going to just, and I said it just like we do in church, I'm not going to prolong the time. Don't they say that in church?
Yeah, they also say, what's the word? Govern yourself.
Yeah, govern yourselves accordingly.
That's right, govern yourselves accordingly.
Yeah, this is a Christian radio broadcast network, and so and on this particular platform, I want you to know we do a little laughing, so we might get a little joy over here. We do love to laugh, and we love the joy of the Lord. And so, without further ado, I just want to say I know this young lady personally, and she is an awesome woman of God. I just want to say that.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure, Dr.
So I know we're going to talk herbs and spices and the benefits and things like that. And I looked up something because I had a question last week. Because I don't particularly care for things that grow on trees. If it grows in the ground, I'm all for it. So I did look up, is there any thing that grow on trees that you can make tea from in North Carolina? And there is. But I want to ask our guest, I think we're going to talk about herbs. Like I said, they say on the country, herbs. But we pronounce without the H in the United States as herbs. But I also want to ask your guest, when we get to it, if she knows anything about pomegranates, the fruit pomegranate.
Okay.
Because I'll listen to a broadcast of agriculture, and you wasn't that matter to me like I always do before coming into the station. And it was mentioning a couple of things, and that prompted me to ask a question about pomegranates.
Pomegranate. So we're going to put a little check mark on that, a pin in that, Dr. Glenn. So, and I'm going to write it down right now.
Great.
So that I don't forget.
Great.
Because I could get going and I'll forget. So pomegranates. And I'm going to do a correction here too, because we are not talking about spices. We're talking about herbs and teas today.
Did I say spices?
Yes, you definitely did. And I do have a question on my piece. You know, I didn't bring my sticky notes, but I did bring my paper over here. And one of my questions, and I'm going to throw it out there, but I need to introduce her. I'm going to throw the question out there too, and then I'm going to introduce her, and we'll put a pin in it.
Okay.
And my question I had written down here was, what's the difference between herbs and spices? So we're going to let her, we got to bring her on, because I know we're already throwing 5 or 6 questions at her, and we don't even have her on yet.
Yeah.
And so I want to bring up our guest on today, and I am going to, her name is Clarissa Reinhardt, and I am going to have her to introduce herself, and I want her to tell us, our listening audience, what she would like them to know about her today. Clarissa, we're going to turn the floor over to you, dear, and allow you to talk. Come on and tell us about yourself.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to the show. It's an honor to be here once again. I think I was here sometime last year. But my name is Clarissa Reinhardt. I am a Christian herbalist. And the main thing today I want everybody to know is that I'm one of those herbalists that believe in the power of healing through the hand of God. The herbs are one thing, but God is the ultimate thing. Amen. I'm a wife. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a mentor. I'm a woman of God who loves the Lord. I write as well. And today I'm just here to answer questions and hopefully be a blessing to the listeners who are listening.
That's great. Oh, wait a minute. What happened? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that is fantastic. And that's what we're hoping you to achieve today. So we have 4 minutes before we go to the first break. Then we'll be back with our four more 10-minute talk times.
And I want to say, hey, thank you to the people that are in our chat and comment section already. It's already popping, Dr. Glenn. There are people standing, already waiting, they're commenting. I'm just glad to see people interested in this subject. There are people on. This is going to be a great broadcast.
But for some reason, you can see that on your side. I don't see it on my side.
Oh, well, I'm seeing it over here. And I just want to send out a good God bless you to those there. And it looks like they're on YouTube. And that's where they're coming from.
Oh, that's why.
Yes, they are answering already. They're already. This is a great subject. I want to say in our 3 minutes before we go off and get ready to go off, and ask Miss Clarissa, and she does have a title. I'm not going to use it on the air, but I know what it is. But I'm going to say and ask her because she is an herbalist. And she also has titles in the gospel. It just is what it is. But I'm going to ask you to tell us exactly what is an herbalist. Can you just tell us what an herbalist is?
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second, my dear. We have a caller which is calling live on the air on today. Hold 1 second while we take this call.
Caller, you are live on the air on the Glenn Johnson Show. You have a call, comment, or question?
Hello, my friends. This is the Pepperman.
Oh, the Pepperman is early
I'm
today.
at you one more time.
The
I
Pepperman
just want to tell y'all how great a job y'all are doing. And I'm so glad we got this kind of programming on TV, on the radio, because it's very, very educational. And
Absolutely.
I want y'all to know, I encourage y'all to keep on doing what you're doing, because y'all are doing a extraordinary job. And I really enjoy it.
Thank you very
And
much.
I'm listening in on today. This is the Pepperman saying goodbye.
All right, thank you very much, Pepperman. He was early today. Thank you, Pepperman.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Clarissa, that was one of our regular callers, Mr. Pepperman, and we are so glad to hear from him. But I left you with a question before we go to our first break here, and I asked you to tell us what exactly is an herbalist.
Okay. You want me to answer it now or wait till you come back
Yes,
from work?
you can answer it now. We have 2 minutes.
Okay. So basically, an herbalist is a person who is one who grows They sell or they use plants and plant-based remedies to support or to treat illnesses.
So you said grows and then sells?
Normally, you have some herbalists who grow their own herbs, or they'll buy them and sell them. So it just depends on the herbalist what they want to do.
Okay, and I think I've known what herbalists do, but I really didn't catch the part about growing. I think that's the first time I've recognized that, you know, herbalists could be, they're like little plant masters then, if they're growing it.
Exactly.
You have to know
That's
something
correct.
about plants to be able to grow a plant.
Exactly.
So that is awesome. I think I've skipped over that portion of it in the
Okay.
past, but I'm glad you expounded on that for us so that we can see that these are people that also grow plants. So you have to have a green thumb if you're going to be an herbalist that grows plants.
If you're going to grow them, I'm going to put it like this. A person can choose to grow or they can buy herbs that are already available. That's up to the person, so I can't say you have to, because I've seen people who never grew anything in their life, they can grow an herb. And normally an herb can grow within 2 weeks. It just depends on what type of herb and all the other procedures you need to do and how to water it for it to grow quickly.
Okay, hey, we're getting ready to go out on our first break here, and we're going to encourage you. We're thankful for Pepperman calling in. To call in today if you have something that you would like to ask our herbalist, Clarissa Reinhardt, who we have as a guest on today. And we're just so grateful that she took the time to join the Glenn Johnson Show here, Motivations with Glenn. We will be right back. This is Awesome Radio Network. We'll be back in a moment. Hang in there, right back.
A week of worship, fellowship, prayer, teaching, empowerment. August 26th through August 30th in Jacksonville at 2734 Commerce Road. God's House of Deliverance, praise and worship with Apostle Linda Gary. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday services, 7 o'clock p.m. Saturday morning fellowships beginning 8:30 a.m. Breakfast brunch will be served. Saturday evening fellowship beginning 5 o'clock p.m. Sunday morning worship 11 o'clock a.m. and Sunday evening 3 p.m. closes out this fifth Sunday fellowship. Dinner will be served. It's a week of worship, fellowship, prayer, teaching, empowerment. August 26th through August 30th in Jacksonville, North Carolina. A church alive is worth the drive. For more information, contact Minister Lakeisha Eccles, 910-803-8976, or Dr. Camilla Nicholson, 252-775-8141. That's August 26th through August 30th in Jacksonville at God's House of Deliverance, Praise and Worship with Apostle Linda Gary.
I am Miss Mary Cox. I'm Keller Thickton's mother from Awesome Radio.
Awesome Radio. Yes, awesome. Awesome. Can you feel it? Awesome. Awesome.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams, here on Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU, Winterville, Greenville, North Carolina. And I'm going to try not to delay anything today. I'm going to hand it back over to Apostle and our special guest.
Yes, we are so glad to have this guest on today, Miss Clarissa Reinhardt, who is an herbalist. We have a bunch of questions here, and this particular one, after I looked at it, I thought, wow, maybe this didn't fit, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I'm going to ask it anyways, and it's for all three of us, not necessarily just for Miss Clarissa. And I think it's at the point of talking about the plants. And it says here, what is the first plant that you remember having a relationship with as a child? What's the first? Yes.
The first plant I remember having a relationship with as a child, I would have to say were peppermint, like the peppermint plant. There was someone I knew in the neighborhood who had a peppermint. She grew peppermint in her backyard, so we would normally pull the leaves and make tea.
Make tea.
Make tea.
Yeah, that's what our discussion was last week. about making tea with plants and particularly flowers, blooming flowers. And
Absolutely.
Ms. Clarissa, that leads me to a question. I don't want to jump ahead, but that leads me to a question. Because as I was telling the Apostle last week, I don't particularly like anything that grows on trees. Because anything that grows on a tree, I'm allergic to. Nuts, all the nuts that grow on trees. The only nut I can eat is peanuts because they grow on the ground.
Right.
And Christmas trees, I can't be around a Christmas tree because it puts out a aroma, particularly if the room is hot. I'll just start itching like you wouldn't believe. So I took it upon myself to look up, are there any things that grow on trees that make tea in North Carolina? The answer to that question was yes. North Carolina has native trees and large shrubs whose leaves, needles, or bark can be made to use to brew tea. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that.
And
So,
it says here too that there's an indigenous one that has caffeine in it, that even the indigenous tribes and early colonists historically roasted and brewed leaves into a stimulating drink.
yeah.
So they used to use this stuff back in the Indian times, certain tree leaves or whatever that had the caffeine in it to make a drink that gave them energy. And I'm just thinking, maybe I have to watch my mouth. I'm trying to get my thoughts to flow it in an intelligent way. But when I think about just plucking some leaves off a tree and boiling it and drinking it, I know that stuff had to be nasty.
It's probably bitter from the
I
start.
know, just nasty. Just
It's got to be extremely bitter from the start.
You had to have some good benefits from that in order to get past that taste. I know that
You
stuff.
do. You do. And to be honest with you, there are 3 parts. I wanted to say this real quick. When you're talking about plants, there are 6 parts to a plant. It's the roots, the stem, the leaves, the flowers, the fruit, and the seed. But when you're doing things with tea, you're normally using the roots, the leaves, and the flowers. So, for instance, and I tell people, anytime you're doing anything medicinal with tea, it may not taste good, but it's good for you, and it's very potent. So, like, for instance, if you're saying, Dr. Glenn, you are allergic to certain nuts on the tree, but you can eat the peanuts, then, for instance, we already know that it wouldn't be wise for you to go to certain trees and pull the leaves because that could be an allergic reaction, right? Even if it's something natural, it can still be dangerous if you don't know what plant can be hazardous to you.
Exactly, and that's why I try to avoid anything dealing with a tree, except for looking at them and getting under one in the shade.
So wait a minute, Dr. Glenn. Miss Clarissa, I have to do a clarity check here because I hear what Dr. Glenn is saying to me, but so you're saying to us you don't like apples and oranges and stuff that comes from a tree. Pecans,
Well,
pecan pie.
but here's the thing, like all the tree nuts and all that stuff I'm allergic to, I'm also allergic to apples and oranges in the form of diabetes because that's natural sugar.
Okay, so I understand as far as the sugar go, but you do like apples and orange. Who grew up without eating an apple or orange?
I love apples and oranges. I do eat them.
I'm trying to get an understanding now.
I do eat them with my sugars at a nice, comfortable level.
Okay, so
But-
it's not
but-
all
but-
trees. It's the nuts you're talking about from
Yeah,
trees. Okay.
But since you mentioned that brings me to another question, and perhaps Ms. Clarissa could chime in on this too. So that's dealing with the tree. But what about grapes? Because grapes grow on a vine. Is that totally different, Ms. Clarissa?
Well, this is what I have to say to you. Since you did say you're allergic to anything that comes from the tree, at the duration of the call, when I got on, you said something about pomegranates. You didn't fully complete that for me, but they come from a tree, right? So to be honest with you, and I have to say this truthfully, when people say they're allergic to things, sometimes you really don't know what kind of reaction you're going to have until you try it. And that's just kind of like the common thing behind everything. You don't really know what's going to happen till you try it. Like if you eat something and your arm starts itching, then you know not to eat it.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? So
That's
if
right.
you have grapes coming off the vine, that may not be an issue for you because they're coming off a vine, right? But still, connected to trees, those are things that you know in your body that if you were to eat is going to be a problem. So I couldn't tell you, well, go eat this, this, this. If you already know what the issue is, then I can't suggest that for you. But we can only say, hey, try this, and if that doesn't work, we know that's not for you.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned one thing. Because I got to go back and do some further research. As far as I'm aware of, I assume that pomegranates grow in the ground or not on the tree, but do they grow on the tree?
Say that one more time.
I'm assuming that pomegranates grow on the ground and not on the tree. Is that the case?
No, they grow on a tree.
Oh, they do grow on a tree.
Yes, they do.
You see, I wasn't aware of that, so I gotta go back and do further research.
Yep, they grow on a tree. Normally the trees are small, bushy shrubs, but they do grow on a tree.
But I can withstand pomegranate. I had them before. I'm going to try to get some more after I do a little bit more research and find out why I can eat pomegranates that grow on the tree and not other stuff.
Okay. And the other thing I would like to suggest to you, too, I don't know if you ever tapped into knowing your blood type, but your blood type is a big deal also to let you know what you should be eating and what you should. Nutrition is a big thing as well.
That is a good suggestion because I'm A positive, so I'm going to start putting in things related to my blood type. Thank you very much for mentioning that.
Well, and I love how you talked about making peppermint tea using the peppermint. And I also know, I think it's peppermint. If I'm correct, I believe that people use peppermint and plant it around their house as pest control.
Yes, ma'am, they do.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yes. So like, for instance, anytime someone has a peppermint shrub that's growing around their house, you're normally never going to see, like, any rats or rodents, period, because once they eat the leaves, it actually destroys the inside of their esophagus.
Oh, wow. I never knew that.
Yep. Yeah, so it's dangerous for them, but it's good for us. So, you know, pretty much when people use peppermint, it's a powerful thing. It keeps spiders away. It's a lot of benefits with peppermint, and I love it. I love the smell of it, and I love what it does.
We're going to have 60 minutes for Apostle to mention things for 60 minutes. Then we'll go to another break. When we come back from the break, we'll have a total of 20 minutes running to consecutively. So no, not consecutive, concurrent. So let's go to Apostle. Then we'll go to the break. Then we'll have our 20 minutes.
So you meant 60 seconds.
60 seconds.
Not 60 minutes.
Yeah, 60
Alrighty.
seconds. Now 30 seconds.
Now 37. Yes, listen. We want you to call in if you'd like on today. If you have a question for our herbalist Clarissa, and I mean, peppermint was just broken down for us right there. I used to see peppermint as a child, but we didn't make teas. It was pretty to decorate the garden and certain things with, so we saw it there. But we want you to call in if you want. The phone number here is 252-756-2008, and you could be live on the air with us. This is the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams. You're listening to us on Awesome Radio. Right back.
Do you have documents that need to be notarized? We provide notary services by appointment. 252-756-3137.
Awesome Radio.
You're listening to Awesome Radio, Christian media with the spirit of excellence.
Awesome Radio. Yes, awesome. Awesome. Can you feel it? Awesome. Awesome.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show, Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams. We're going to have a total of 20 minutes concurrently running together for this particular segment. So I'm going to go back and, before I give it back over to Apostle and our guest, who's doing a fabulous job, by the way. So they had mentioned peppermint. Now, I remember as a child, peppermint leaves, because I tried to eat one that figured it would taste like peppermint. That wasn't the case. You talking about something that was bitter.
You found out, didn't you?
I found out the hard way. It wasn't bitter. But, you know, as Miss Clarissa said, you know, things that you might not agree with or consider as nasty and this, that, is actually better for you. So once you prepare it the correct way, then it's scrumptious.
Exactly.
Is that correct, Ms. Clarissa?
Right, when it's prepared the right way, it's very beneficial for you. Even if it doesn't taste good, it's the benefits that's coming from the herbs to help you. That's what's good.
Yeah.
I think you just have to see it in a way like this is going to help my body. You know, normally when people drink peppermint tea, they got gas, or you know, they may just have headaches. It's also good for headaches. So it just depends. You know, some people don't like peppermint. They don't like nothing minty, but it helps break up mucus in the chest. So there's a lot of benefits to it, and I think the person just has to put their mindset to say, hey, I don't like it, but I'm going to drink it because it's going to help me.
Well, and you can use it in other forms, and I don't want to stay on peppermint because I want to move with a couple of more questions. But you remember being in church? We all remember being in that older lady just get down to the bottom of that pocketbook and come up with a peppermint, you know, and you know, with that little noisy paper.
Yeah.
They all have that noisy paper and give it to you, and you just felt so good. You know, it did. It seemed like it just healed your little soul when you ate that peppermint, you know, because it's still peppermint. It's just in a different form.
Exactly.
And what I can remember about church and this ladies giving me different snacks, candies, and what I can remember is when that did occur, I knew shortly thereafter it was time to leave church and get back home.
So your peppermint came at the end of church.
Probably close to the end, yeah.
They was making you behave yourself. That's why that was. So I'm going to get back to Miss Clarissa. Miss Clarissa, I had the question, and I asked, what's the difference between herbs and spices?
Yeah, so this is a funny thing because, you know, like for instance, I'm going to say this and I'm going to answer the question. You know, like when we eat a tomato, and it took me, I think I just discovered a few years ago that a tomato was not a vegetable, right? A tomato is a fruit.
Yeah.
And so when I found that out, I'm like, what? So sometimes people say, oh, spices are herbs too. Well, technically, the difference with a herb and a spice is the fact of you have different parts. So based on whatever parts you use, it's considered to be the herb or considered to be the spice. You got the root, the bark, and you also have, it's the root and the bark. So pretty much when you use those and you grind the bark, that can be your spice. So based on how people see it, some people will tell you that a spice is a herb and vice versa. But it's based on the parts where it comes from.
So you could have a spice and a herb from the same plant, basically.
Yes, you can.
And you know what I noticed growing up, because I had two sisters, and they would always do this. They would grab a tomato, slice it, then pull out the salt shaker or the sugar shaker, put salt or sugar on it to enhance the flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And I know if you put salt on a slice of watermelon, all the sweet juices that flow right out of that watermelon.
You said put tomato on a watermelon?
No, put salt on the
Oh, okay. I thought you said put tomato slice. I was going to say, Dr. Glenn, what's going on over there?
No, my two sisters used to put either salt
on the
or
watermelon.
sugar
Oh, okay,
or,
yeah.
or the tomato or the watermelon.
Oh, yeah. And it is good with some salt on the tomato. It's very good. And I've seen people making a tomato with mayonnaise and some bread. That's the most horrible thing. Who's doing that?
Hey, listen. You never had a condiment sandwich?
I have not. And I will not.
You never had a tomato sandwich or a mustard sandwich?
No, not by itself. Not no tomatoes or no mustard by. I will not.
Well, there was people that ate condiment sandwiches back in the day when times were hard.
Well, I know, and it hasn't gotten that hard for me. I thank the Lord for being abundance. You know what I mean? Walking in abundance. I haven't seen it. Now, I've eaten the butts off the bread, but I have not eaten it with no mustard or no ketchup and made a mustard or ketchup sandwich.
All right, so Apostle never ate a condiment sandwich, so just keep that in mind. And getting the event, times get hard.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry with it. I'm not going to worry about it.
I don't want to get off track. We got 4 minutes. We got 4 more minutes to go.
I ain't going there, Dr. Glenn.
We got We got 4 minutes to go for this 20-minute segment. Then we'll be back with our final 10-minute segment. No, we'll be back with another, yeah. After this 3 minutes, we'll be back with our final 10 minutes. Apostle.
Yes, and listen, we don't want to make light of anybody's struggle. If you had to eat the mustard sandwich or a tomato sandwich, ketchup sandwich or whatever it is, you were blessed to have something to eat.
And that's what it was. Some people were blessed to just eat a condiment sandwich, even although there were no meat or anything to put on it. They would be comfortable eating a slice of bread with some ketchup or something in between the bread.
Well, you had something to eat versus having nothing.
And that's the way they took it.
I'll fast and pray with mine. All right. Okay, so Dr. Glenn, we're going to ask another question to Clarissa. Let me see if I can get back here to the questions. And I wanted her to tell us some interesting facts about herbs.
Some interesting facts about herbs.
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, herbs has been here before we have, as people, of course. Another interesting fact is that we had plants before doctors were given prescriptions for healing. And the other thing I want to say is that God's hands are over herbs for our healing. So that's interesting for me enough to say that, to believe that whatever He placed here, there's something for everything. It's up to us to discover what it is.
Wow, and you just led us into one of the questions that I had here. And one of them was, what does the Bible say? Does the Bible say anything about herbalists? I know that's a more modern name, and that they had people that did herbs and, different things back in the Bible time. What does the Bible call them, and what does the Bible say about them? It could just be something quick you'll let us know.
Yeah.
So pretty much the Bible does talk about herbs. There's a scripture in Revelation 22, verse 2, I believe, and it says that the leaves are for the healing of the nation. And so they didn't necessarily, I would say, call them herbalists. But if we go back to Luke and we look at who he could have been during this time, he was a naturopathic doctor. He was a physician, not one that was into conventional medicine, but one who pretty much was into herbs. More than likely, he was into herbs. He was giving people herbal remedies more than so, than what we see today. When people go to the doctor, no offense, nothing against anyone who gets prescriptions, but that is how we could see the herbalists back in the day. That's what they were. They considered now would be naturopathic.
That's good information. We got 1 minute before the break, so I want to ask Apostle, when we come back from the break, if she will get the document for Eat This to Fight Cancer. There's some good information on there. I believe it's a 2-page document. The second page has an image of let's see something. Oh my God, it's stuck together. Second page have a point: eat, limit, and avoid. So it's got 3 sections on what to eat, what to limit yourself to, and what to avoid. And I don't know if Miss Clarissa can get to it. I emailed it to her. It's Eat This to Fight Cancer. So we want to take a little time to explore that after the break. Apostle.
Yes, we're getting ready to go out on the break. And again, we still have some time left. You can call in if you'd like to be a part of this broadcast. If you have a question for Miss Clarissa, you can call in and you'll be live on the air right here with Dr. Glenn, myself, and Clarissa. This is Awesome Radio Network. You're listening to Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams. We'll be right back in a moment.
Oh, that was quick. So we're back. We back, yeah.
Wait a minute, Dr. Glenn, that really was a moment.
It sure was. But we are back. Let me just take this opportunity because Apostle said if you have a comment or question you would like to ask Miss Clarissa, don't hesitate to call in. The number to call is 252-756-2008. Additionally, if you like Miss Clarissa Reinhardt's information, please email me at glennjohnsonshow@gmail.com. That's Glenn with 2 N's, johnsonshow@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to provide it to you prior her approval. So she has to approve me giving her the information, first of all. But if she approve it, I'll be more than happy to forward it to you. Apostle.
Yes, and Dr. Glenn gave us a document here. We want to go to it swiftly because I have a burning question that I myself need to ask Miss Clarissa before Clarissa the herbalist before we get off the air for quick. And it seems like we have a lot. We're gonna have to bring her back again at some time because there are people we haven't even gotten to. You know, some of them may want to call in, and there may be questions, and I can't.
You know, since you said that, perhaps that could be next week, part 3. We'll definitely do a part 3 because I'm still waiting for the officers and the representatives to call me about the bear. Because we definitely got to do the topic about the bear in Pitt County.
So Miss Clarissa said, and she gave us a scripture in Revelation that talked about eating the leaves from the tree was for the healing of the nations. And so if a tree, eating the leaves from the tree could be for the healing of a nation, there are definitely things that can cause you to be healed, herbs and different things that you can eat. And Dr. Glenn has given us a cancer-safe food list and some things to limit. And then I'm going to ask my burning question after we're done here. And if you would like to be apprised of this list, you can also email Dr. Glenn and you can get it in its entirety.
Absolutely.
Now, this thing said avoid, and I just got to go to this little hot list over here because there's a few things that make me uncomfortable when I see this, because these are the things that we eat as a culture. And I talked about on last week that sometimes we got to change some things as a culture. We are eating ourselves into the grave. A lot of the sicknesses and diseases and things that we have, it's the result of how we eat.
And that's one reason why I try to eat as healthy as possible, because all during the 80s, when that commercial used to come on TV, you are what you eat. And I said to myself, if I start eating a lot of junk, that's exactly what I want to be, junk.
Well, and it said here to avoid alcohol. I could see that. But bacon. They got bacon on the list.
I got to have that bacon.
Yeah, me too. I'm not delivered from bacon yet. And so we just ask God to cover the bacon and help us to live. But it said here, high-dose antioxidant supplements. High-dose antioxidant supplements. Also, energy drinks. There's a lot of people that live on those energy drinks. They come to work every day, and they've got one of those drinks.
Because you know what I think? Most of the energy drinks, especially that vitamin water, that 50 cent you sold, it's all pure sugar.
Pure sugar. Miss Clarissa, do you want to weigh in on that one?
In reference to the energy drinks,
Yes.
or you refer to on the list for the high dose antioxidant supplements?
The high-dose antioxidant supplements.
So there are supplements out here, and I would say this: too much of a good thing could be a bad thing, right? So if you get a supplement and it's a high dose and you overdo it, some people can have kidney failure. They can have liver failure. You know, it just depends. If you take too much of certain vitamins, something can happen with your organs. So everything has to be balanced out with a balance, not an imbalance. And if that is to happen, it can do the body great harm more so than good.
Definitely. And it said here, one of the things to avoid is seafood. Do you know how many videos I have seen on social media where they were sitting there dipping and dripping and smacking and eating the seafood? It's like a thing or a status symbol in the black race right now to be on social media dripping and dipping and eating seafood.
Right.
And so... yes, go ahead.
With the seafood, a lot of seafood is loaded with a lot of sodium. Me personally, I don't eat any type of shellfish, right? So I'm more so in a lot of white fishes, saltwater fish. And personally, I'll have to say this again, everything needs to be done in moderation.
Yeah. But like, I can eat whiting, but I can't eat any other seafood. No nothing. No shellfish. No oysters, no lobster, no crabs, none of that. But I can eat whitings, and I don't know what it is. I can eat no butterfish, flounder, or anything. And they sell one particular fish all the time here in North Carolina, and I cannot ingest any of it.
Well, and it said here, fried chicken, avoid fried chicken, fried fish. You know, black people would be starved to death, and a lot of us would be skinny if we went by this list here. because corn dogs, hot dogs. You know, the kids is raised on a corn dog and they get a hot dog is the first thing to nibble on.
But let me tell share something with Mr. Clarissa. So when I said I'm allergic to seafood, one day I was at Captain D's, and I'm not giving them no promotional advertisement, but I'm there, and I noticed when you walk in the entrance, there's a notification above the door. There's some of the food products may contain MSG. And I said, you know what? I wonder why my tongue was always tingling when I ate their seafood. And that's why, because it contained MSG. So I made a mistake. A manager was at the register one day. I walked in. I said, have you ever noticed that sign up there? She said, what sign? I said, right there. That's an allergy warning. It has MSG. She said, no, she never knows that. She got the maintenance crew to take the sign from above the door. And now this sign is in the inside at the register. I said, yeah, because people might be allergic to that. I said, I'm allergic to it. I said, now that I told you I'm allergic, the next time I come in, would you serve me? And she said, absolutely not.
Wow. Well, it said on this no list, don't eat moldy bread or moldy cheese. I agree with that. We don't want any moldy bread or any moldy cheese.
Now, I want to interject and say something when you were talking about corn dogs and all that. Personally, I cleared my diet up a long time ago. I have not eaten chicken in over 20 years, and that's because of my blood type. You know, so that's a whole nother story. But when it comes to a lot of processed foods, and hear me well, a lot of processed foods, you have to be careful because they're loaded with chemicals.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. I was looking at the list. I see what they have in the green, the yellow, and the red sections. And at the end of the day, I recommend a lot of people really tap into finding out their blood type. You know, just like you need to know what kind of gas to put in your vehicle, you need to know what kind of food you need to have to be eating in your body. So that is a big thing. It's one thing with the herbs, but nutrition with herbs play a big part for your health.
And I'm glad you mentioned the blood type. When I do the research on the pomegranate and some other things, I'm going to actually type in my blood type, and I'll ask, is this suitable for a person with A positive blood type, and see what the reply is. See what the reply is. So we're gonna have 1 minute and 30 seconds before the next break. Then we'll be back on our final 10 minutes. But I just want to share with everybody, Miss Clarissa Reinhardt is with us today live via conference call on the telephone. So perhaps when we do part 3 next week, we're going to have her on virtually with a camera to have a video of her also. So here's Apostle to take us out to the break. Then we'll be back with our final 10 minutes.
Apostle is wearing a big smile at that. It's time that we see this mystery woman and we get her on camera. And if she can come back next week, we're going to have her on camera this time so you can see. I think you're going to be surprised. Hey, we're getting ready to go out on I think this is our last break, Dr. Glenn.
Yes.
This is our last break, but I have that burning question when I come back from this break because I have to ask Miss Clarissa this question. There's some differences between some things that we see in the earth, and I need to know the difference here. Dr. Glenn?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I want to ask her too next week. We still have some documents to get through because on some of these documents, it mentions medicinal purposes for the tea, herbs, also antioxidants. So we want to get into that. So I want to let Mr. Clarissa right now. We'll probably talk about some of those things next week. 9 seconds, Apostle.
Yes. Hang in there. We'll be right back. One more break, and we'll be right back right after this break.
Welcome back to the 6th Annual Daily Drum Job Fair and Street Summit happening Saturday, September 19th at CMF's Middle School Gym, 1100 Elm Street, Greenville. There will be plenty of door prizes, and while you're at the job fair, don't forget to pre-sign up for the free trip to the zoo and for children ages 12 to 17 for the all-new Kalahari Water Park. You must be at the job fair in order to sign up for the free zoo trip and the water park. Mr. Ben Johnson has all the information. Contact him at 252-258-6827. That's 252-258-6827. Mr. Ben Johnson.
Awesome radio. Yes, awesome. Awesome. Can you hear it? Awesome.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Glenn Johnson Show. Motivations with Glenn and Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams. We have reached our final 10 minutes of today's broadcast. So without delay, I'm going to go right back to Apostle and our special guest, Ms. Clarissa Reinhardt. All happening now. Here's Apostle.
So I have a question that is on my heart and mind, and I don't want to end the broadcast without it. And I think she hit on it a little bit. I know that in her introduction of what she talked about concerning herbs, that she did talk about God and the involvement of God. But there's sometimes when I see on social media, like on TikTok and, some of the others, and I shouldn't just say TikTok, I shouldn't say their names, but the social media outlets, sometimes I see different people that are out, and they're not necessarily Christians. They're just people that are out, and they're telling. One particular video told me that if I put a basil, I think it was basil leaf, in my wallet, that I would get money. I would be able to facilitate some money through carrying around a basil leaf in my wallet. I want to say, and that's a herb there. And I want to say and ask Clarissa, what's the difference between what you do as an herbalist versus these other people that are making, some of them, I saw them making potions, and they were telling us how to put a certain herb or mix together certain herbs and certain things and let it sit out in the sun or up under the moon and all type of things, and that it would do certain things. So what's the difference in what you do versus the things that I see these other people that are operating in spiritual things, but they're not Christians?
So that is a great question, and let me give you my answer. The difference with what I do compared to those who do it from a witchy perspective, I said witchy, is the fact that I give all glory to the Creator who made the creation. I don't worship the creation. And so in knowing that, there is a difference, because I know people who tell me, of course they're not Christians, but they operate in herbs. They would say things like, I burn sage to keep spirits out. And I'm like, no, sage is a herb, can be used for teas, but I give glory to the Creator who made the creation. I don't worship any herb. So I would have to say that's my difference, because the Bible tells us to acknowledge God in everything that we do. So if I'm acknowledging Him in everything that I do, then I'm going to always be reminded that the creation has nothing compared to the Creator who made it. And so that's my answer to that.
And what you just said sounds absolutely correct with me. I agree with you.
Right, and the portion of adding faith, which means that you have to have, because you could take a herb and no matter who tells you to use it, and it don't work. Because sometimes you need to be healed, and you need that healing power of God to work through that herb.
And do you think, so some of these people that do things like this, do you think they behave in a satanic manner?
Say that again?
Do you think people that do utilize or try to create differences that really don't make no sense, do you think they're engaged in a satanic matter?
A satanic matter.
A satanic,
yes. Some of them are engaging in a satanic manner, and it's really bad. I stay in the state of Florida, and there's so much New Age and witchcraft around me. It's crazy, but I will say one thing. They know who the light is like we know who the dark is. And so even if they tried, a lot of them work in restaurants. If they try to put something in your food, it's not going to harm a Christian or believer of God if they're walking in the righteousness of what God has for them. He's going to protect them. So I do believe a lot of them do get into it for satanic purposes, or love potions and spells to keep a man, keep a woman. It's just really sickening, because it's like, really? That's not what you do.
But it's, the reality of the world that we live in, there are people, and let's not leave out North Carolina, because there's some witch people in North Carolina that's cooking up some food too, and going to people for potions and doing some things, trying to keep somebody and keep somebody down. And, it's some sneak rats wherever. I don't want to call them sneak rats, but that's what they are. They're sneak rats. There's sneak rats all over, and in this city and every other city. You could go to work and people are doing things.
Yeah.
They're trying to in every place there's going to be somebody looking to do something wicked that's trying to get ahead with something that they used of a wicked nature. And the reason they do it is because some of them get results. But that's why
right.
we, the people of God, have to be sure and very sure that we're operating in the power of his might.
That's
and
right.
by his spirit, that we're doing it by his spirit and not by these other means.
Acting in accordance to God and Jesus Christ.
I just saw a popular preacher, and I'm just going to throw this out there, and I shared this video, and he said, use the word abracadabra. And use the word, and I mean, he is leading our black people into a lot of protests and different things, and he done got over the pulpit and told the people to use the Arabic word abracadabra, and it means that you could bring to pass whatever you say. Well, if you could bring to pass whatever you say, you're nothing more than a magician. I have to use the name. Everything is all in the name of Jesus. So now people don't want to use Jesus. Jesus is not enough. They want to go and grab a hold to something else. I may seem a little passionate about that, but I am passionate about it.
But that's true.
Seeing the people of God being bewitched or tricked into saying abracadabra is not in Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. It's 66 books, and abracadabra
right.
is not in there.
Abracadabra is not real.
It's not real.
It's not real.
But there are people that are thinking now that they can go abracadabra and declare whatever they want.
Nothing's going to happen.
You better not be getting nothing without Jesus, because you're going to be in trouble with it.
Instead of using abracadabra, you better fall on your knees and look up to God and our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
That's right. And if abracadabra got it for you, you might be looking to figure out how to get it back to abracadabra. After the devil gets done with you with it, you better leave it alone. Don't mess with that stuff.
Absolutely.
So I thank you for giving us that answer, that we do not do it, and everything that we do is in his name, in the name of Jesus. It's through the name of Jesus, and that we have to operate by faith. The Bible says the just shall live by faith. Dr. Glenn?
Right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2.5 minutes before the broadcast ends. So I just want to remind everybody, I think it's likely that we'll do a part 3 because we didn't get to some of the documents that we have before us. And I really want to talk about more herbs and healing herbs and things like that. And that'll give Miss Clarissa time to go over the documents that I emailed to her earlier. So I do want to get to the parts where it mentioned antioxidants and the medicinal purposes of the herbs. Apostle, we got 2 minutes before the broadcast ends.
Yes, Dr. Glenn. I'm over here sweating because I'm trying to hold my mule. Trying to hold myself back. I got excited when we started talking about the word. So I am very, very grateful and thankful for Miss Clarissa, for you coming on and sharing with us today. I know that some of the things that you have said have been very informative, and we hope that you could come back next week. You hadn't given us an answer, but we hope you could come back next week. And I really am looking forward to, if the answer is yes, seeing you on camera. I promise you, people, she does not have a bump on her nose. She doesn't have them little pointy fingernails and, come here, I'll get you, my pretty. The glory of God is on her. We need to see her face. We need to see her face. Dr. Glenn?
And so you already said she was married, so I won't go there.
Yeah, don't go, Dr. Glenn. Don't go there. I know this brother. He tall, too. Woo, he tall. He fierce, too. That apostle is somebody else.
I don't want to be on.
Lord willing, definitely I would love to come back. Was that on the 2nd, next Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay, yes, that's fine.
So I'll send you a link to be on virtual with us, and we'll get it done.
Okay, no problem.
Hey, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you, Miss Clarissa, for joining us on today. You have been a great blessing to the Glenn Johnson Show with Apostle Jacqueline Cullins Williams, Motivations with Glenn. And we want to say to our audience, come back next week. It's going to be on fire again. It's going to be a good show again, and we look forward to seeing you next week at 3. Dr. Glenn?
God bless you all. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. As the weekend approaches, be reminded of safety. Safety is of the utmost importance. So God bless to everybody. And thank you, Ms. Clarissa.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Do you have documents that need to be notarized? We provide notary services by appointment. 252-756-3137.
Awesome radio. Yes, awesome. Awesome. Can you hear